Welcome to wild and wonderful West Virginia, everyone. We're at Snowshoe Mountain for the World Cup final. Coincidentally, it's also the location of the debut of the long-awaited Scott Axis E-Ride mechanics support concept, genius, beautiful, what other superlatives can I come up with, bike, which we've been working on since 2019. It's actually kind of been in the wings, but unable to be debuted due to the absence of any racing in the United States for the last almost 2 years now. So we're lucky to finally be at a race where, also a race with spectators, where we can actually show the bike off and show some of our creative and fun ideas that we've come up with for this bike to make it something interesting and worth stopping and taking a second look at when you pass it in the pits. So without further ado, this contraption here is has a lot of bells and whistles, some hidden features that might be worth taking a closer look at. So where to begin? It starts out as a Scott Axis E-Ride. It's a bike you can buy out of the catalog, one of Scott's many models of e-bike. The point of this one was to load it up with every necessity that that I, as a mechanic, would need to take to the pits in a pro race to support any possible mechanical issue or other feeding issue that comes up in a mountain bike race. So having some experience in that department, they asked me to kind of lead the charge, and they offered me the opportunity to involve whomever I wish. So it was a great opportunity for me to collaborate with many friends and acquaintances and partners that I've met along the way throughout my career doing this job. Perhaps most noticeable is the stunning paint job. It was kind of reminiscent of the oil slick theme, which is present throughout the parts and components that are spec'd on this bike. My friend Tony Bowman, who's a friend of mine from childhood. I was 11 when we first met. We used to race bikes together in North Carolina. He's since begun his own business as a custom airbrush specialist for bikes and other things, and has risen to prominence in the industry over the years, and it was an awesome opportunity for me to finally get to work with him and do something for myself. I've built many bikes for pro athletes that he's had the opportunity to paint, but never something for me personally. So to get to involve him is probably the most sentimentally valuable aspect of the entire project. And we talked about it yesterday. We actually just finished the build yesterday, and he was like kind of in the same, we both had a bit of an emotional realization of kind of how far the two of us have both come, and it's been 25 years now since we got started doing all this bike stuff, so it's really cool to be involved with Tony on this one. So thank you, Tony, for all the hard work. It looks stunning, and everyone has confirmed that who has walked by so far in the last 2 days. Beyond that, we tried to pay homage to the team sponsors, so you'll see a full complement of Syncros products, all the top-end stuff, most of it with custom paint thrown on it. The bike has 2 spare wheel sets, as we always bring to the Tech Zone. These are the Syncros Silverton SL wheels, which are the fancy one-piece carbon wheels that Kate races on and the whole team races on. Normally to have just 2 on a bicycle is a pretty special thing. To have 6 on a bicycle at one time is, we think, probably unheard of and never before done. So we're very proud that we were able to figure out how to do that. Beyond that, of course, SRAM is the title sponsor of our team, and they were kind enough to provide a full Axis group for the bike, complete with the rainbow oil slick finish to match. Of course, the RockShox dropper post that the guys race on. We also have one on this bike to make it easier for me to swing my leg over the top tube and hop on when the time comes. I've been a partner with Abbey Bike Tools for 4 or 5 years now as an ambassador. Not only did they provide the toolbox, which is mounted on the back rack, he also did literally all of the custom fabrication, and that is a lot of custom fabrication that you see on this bike. Everything from the way we've mounted the wheels, the way we've mounted all the racks that have enough load support to actually carry the weight that we've attached to this bike, which is substantial. It was not an easy job, and Jason Quaid, the owner and founder and brain behind all of Abbey Bike Tools, basically shut his workshop down for like 3 days straight to help us pull this off. So without Jason, this would just be ideas and things jotted down on paper and drawings on a napkin, but he's the kind of guy with the brain that can actually pull this stuff off in real life and has the equipment to back it up. So that was huge. Really appreciate Jason and the Abbey Tools contribution. That was big, and we couldn't have done it without him. Probably my favorite feature, and I think the one that gets the most attention, Topeak, another title sponsor of our team, provided this product. It's called the 2B Booster, which is actually just an air can that you can charge with a floor pump. but we've taken it a step further. If you see, we have here a little miniature air compressor that we've hollowed out one of the tanks to fit that inside, run a hose to the other one to actually fill with air. So we have an automatic air compressor, which with the push of a button charges the tank with air, has a simple hose with a head on it, like a normal floor pump. So once it's full of air, which it is, at the turn of a valve, you can hear it actually works. So we have enough air in there to basically inflate 3 tires to race pressure from totally flat. So that's enough for any race. If we have more than, 5 flats in a race, then we're in big trouble. So that should be enough to get us through an hour and a half of bicycling. Beyond that, we have, obviously the wheel mounts are pretty spectacular. Just to have achieved that is a party trick of its own. Everything is accessible with the turn of a knob. You'll notice the green knobs, those are actually a modification to an Abbey Bike Tools product meant to hold a wheel into a truing stand. Instead, he's converted them into a little twist knob to allow us to take the wheels on and off the bike using simply our fingers. So it's all actually usable, it's totally functional, and it's not just a showpiece, but it actually performs as intended, and that's kind of the real miracle, I think, of all, is that we actually pulled it off and made something that's rideable and usable and not just something pretty to look at. So we're pretty proud of what we've got here. It's already turned a lot of heads, and yeah, just happy that it's finally seen the light of day.